My primary duty tonight is to welcome our special friend and special guest tonight, Governor Mitt Romney, to the North Star State, the great state of Minnesota. I'll share just a few quick thoughts with you as well. But I want to say to my friend, Governor Romney, welcome to the land of 10,000 lakes. We actually have 15,000, but we don't like to brag, so we just said 10,000. But Mitt got elected in 2002 as the governor of Massachusetts. The same year I got elected as the governor of Minnesota. So we had a chance to work together through the Governors Association on a number of issues. And you know this about Governor Romney. He is a wise leader. He is a smart leader. He is an effective leader. He has served his state of Massachusetts and our nation really well. We owe him a debt of gratitude. But I want to give you just something else on a personal note. I've had a chance to just see how he conducts himself in terms of the love for his family, the values by which he lives his daily life. And Mitt Romney is not only a great leader, he's a great person. And so we're grateful that you're here tonight. We have a bunch of other things in common as well. We've been governors of perhaps two of the most liberal states in the country. So people keep talking about how that Senate election in Massachusetts was so remarkable because it's a liberal state and it was won by a Republican for the United States Senate, and thankfully we're thankful for that. But Massachusetts voted for Ronald Reagan twice. Minnesota never did. So I think we may have bested Massachusetts in one category that we're not particularly proud of. But Mitt and I have some other things in common as well. We both have married spectacular spouses. And so many of you are familiar with my wife, Mary. She's speaking right now, in fact, at the Teen Challenge banquet in downtown Minneapolis. So when I'm done with my remarks, I'm going to discreetly slip out here so I can catch the tail end of the Teen Challenge banquet and be with her and our two daughters. But Ann Romney is a wonderful person. She's got the same kind of values and commitment as Mitt does. And when he's out on the road, I know it's hard on her and his family. So we appreciate Ann Romney tonight. We've got some other things in common. We each have baseball teams. Now, you heard about this game coming up on Monday in the new stadium. Our Minnesota Twins are playing this minor league team called the Boston Red Sox. You ever heard about them? Inaugurate officially that stadium. We've got one other thing in common as well. In our earlier lives, Mitt and I each had some struggles with our hair. Now, you go back and look at the photos of my hair from, 10, 15 years ago, I had the Minnesota hockey mullet. I mean, the back was coming down off the collar, got a lot of grief for it. And so we have the mullet. And Mitt, now in the younger days, he had kind of a tight, jet black hair called the helmet. So we're going to team up, and we've got the helmet and the mullet working together, I think, on behalf of the conservative cause. Did you like that? All right, well, a couple of quick thoughts. I want to just say we're here tonight for this tremendous organization that Annette leads, but she can't do it alone. And it's organized around the principles and values of freedom. So we live in this beloved nation, the United States of America. It is the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world. There are no people anywhere ever that have experienced more freedom and more liberty than those of us fortunate enough to live in the United States of America in these modern times. Do we have challenges? Of course. Are there future bumps in the road? You betcha, as we say here. Are there going to be more problems? Of course. But we are a blessed people to live in this tremendous nation. But we should remember, if we want to make sure we maintain it and preserve this great republic, we need to remember why this country was founded, why it has been so blessed, why it is such a great nation, and those values and principles are engrafted and embedded in the glorious founding documents of this country. And there's a lot of talk these days about, well, what kind of Republican or conservative are you? And some say, well, I'm a Tea Party conservative. Others might say, well, I'm a Reagan conservative. Some might say, well, I'm a common sense conservative. Others might say, well, I'm a mainstream conservative. Those are all good words. We should celebrate all of them. But there's one that I think we should start with. And that is, we should start with the notion that we are constitutional conservatives in this country. And others related to it speak to the importance of free markets. They speak to the importance of individual responsibility, speaking to the importance of the rule of law, speaking to the importance of not only being free, but being good, being a virtuous country, and celebrating charity and civic involvement and so many of the virtues of our country. Those values, those principles, each one of them are one generation away from extinction. So for those who appreciate it, for those who understand, it's important that we reach back and make sure that we remind each other what they are, why we believe in them, why they're important, and that's why the work of this organization and organizations like it is so important. The important paramount issue, though, of all of their work and all of what we're gathered here tonight is freedom. And so we have people in this country, in city halls, in county boards, in state legislatures, in the halls of Congress, who do not appreciate the role of freedom as it unleashes the human spirit, as it unleashes innovation, as it unleashes entrepreneurial spirit, as it unleashes creativity, as it unleashes design, and all of the wonderful things that freedom brings to each of our individual dreams and our collective dreams. But we have people who are using the power of government to encroach on those freedoms, sometimes in dramatic moments. We sometimes think, oh, it's in the form of a war or a dramatic clash, and those moments do come. But just as often, our freedoms, little by little, are encroached upon by people. Each time they pass another tax increase or another regulation, they take one more piece of our entrepreneurial spirit or the free market away. And so each time they say the government will do this instead of you, they take one more piece of our individual responsibility away. Each time they take the political system and manipulate it and ignore rule of law and make the law up on the back of a napkin instead of how it's written, particularly in the Constitution, they undermine one more piece of our foundation. So we got these people hammering away at the foundations of this country. And so, just like the metaphor of the stonecutter, these things split open on the 200 strike in that metaphor, not because of the 200 strike, but because of the 199 that preceded it. And so for those of us who understand the importance of these values and principles, we need to come alongside and say, stop it. We've had enough. And so I'm so proud that you're here on a Friday night, on a spring evening with a blue sky and 70-degree temperatures after a long winter. It says a lot about the importance of this cause, but it also says a lot about you, your willingness to be involved, your willingness to understand these values, and your willingness to fight for them. America is not just a piece of geography. It's a set of ideas and values that need to be preserved. And now we live in a country where our United States federal government owns 2 car companies. They own the largest insurance company in the country, AIG, or control it. They own the 2 entities that write almost all of the mortgages in the country, 80% of them or so. They just recently took over the entire student loan industry. They have taken over or control wide swaths of the entire banking industry. Very recently now, they've taken over or control more of the healthcare delivery system in the country. And I think the country is saying, through the election results in Massachusetts, through the election results in Virginia, through the election results in New Jersey, and what you see brewing across this country, patriots rising up and saying, we've had enough. This is not what we bargained for. Knock it off. Stop it. And so that's why we're here tonight. Companies that are too big to fail. We have a federal government that is too big to succeed. We have government debt that is too big to pay off. And we have national leaders who are too small to do anything about it. And that's